Next is Jomol Mathews. She's going to talk about the Wisconsin Health Data Hub, and she's Associate Dean for Informatics and IT at the University of Wisconsin.
Thanks, everyone. Before moving to Wisconsin, I was working at Dana-Farber Cancer Institute for about 10 years, and then as the chief of informatics at UMass Medical School. So I've seen the evolution of I2B2, and what was fascinating to me was hearing the Harvard dean talk for minutes about the technology in detail, and I've never seen a dean being able to do that. And it's a huge attestation to the work that Zach and Sean and others have done. So kudos and thanks for developing and maintaining this application. So the Wisconsin Health Data Hub is an attempt to pave the pathway for precision medicine and population health in the state of Wisconsin and beyond. So it's funded by the Economic Development Administration, and we are part of the Wisconsin's BioHealth Tech Hub, which brings together about 18 partners under the funding, and the lead consortium member is BioForward, and University of Wisconsin is one of the major players. What it does is it brings together 5 interconnected projects. 3 of them are technology projects. I'll talk about them in a minute. And our goal is to advance innovation, improve quality of life, and better health and healthcare for the Wisconsinites, and thereby bringing in significant economic growth to the state of Wisconsin. So Wisconsin Health Data Hub is an exemplar of the Wisconsin idea. So the University of Wisconsin has this principle that all the discoveries of the university has to reach the public beyond the 4 walls of the university and contribute to the health and well-being of Wisconsinites. So on the technology side, we want to enable discoveries in prevention, early detection, diagnosis, and treatment using big data and analytics. And we want to enable precision medicine and population health on the patient impact side. And Wisconsin has a lot of rural and urban areas, so there's a lot of divide in rural and urban care. And so we want to make sure that the solutions that are coming out using the data cater to both rural and urban populations in Wisconsin. And unlike Boston, we have significant challenges even in this project that we are trying to hire a lot of people. And I think there is significant opportunity in upskilling people in the advanced big data and analytics areas. So what problem are we trying to solve? You have heard Dr. Barrell today talking about the need for bringing data together. And this slide hopefully will illustrate that problem. So in a state like Wisconsin, we have a huge fragmentation issue in healthcare, both at the individual patient level and communities. So at the individual patient level, for example, we are the comprehensive cancer center, the only comprehensive cancer center in the state. And people move from their own hospitals to UW for seeking advanced cancer care. So we have a disconnect at the individual patient level unless we bring the data together. So what you see on the right side is active patient populations that are served by each of the hospital systems. These are 4 major hospital systems in the state of Wisconsin. So as you can see, UW-Madison, which probably has the largest population share of the state, is very much confined to the southern part of Wisconsin. And and similarly, the MCW and Aurora cater to the eastern regions or southeastern regions. And Marshfield, even though it's a smaller health system, it covers almost all the rural areas of the state. So unless we put this data together, none of us have the ability to address some of the problems across the state. And if we want to study geographical determinants or want to study the environmental milieu that affects human health, then there's no way for us to do it in a meaningful way unless we put the data together. So the objective of the Wisconsin Health Data Hub is to develop a framework for securely democratizing this data and bringing it together to fuel new treatments, companies, and jobs. From the get-go, we want to make sure that this is not just a framework for our academic curiosity, but also to enable entrepreneurship and for companies, whether it is large companies like Google or Microsoft or small AI development companies to come to Wisconsin or utilize the data. And so the way we are doing it is because these are hospitals in the same geographic vicinity that sometimes compete for the same patient population, we have to be respectful about that fact. And so we have a two-prong approach. It's a hybrid approach. We have a federated query model built on I2B2 and Shrine to start with an OMOP underlying model, and then on-demand integration platform for approved projects. So we will be able to, like somebody will be able to query, identify the sites, and then do an on-demand integration. And the tools for on-demand integration are being currently developed. And, we can do this with large hospital systems. I think somebody alluded to that, maybe one of the questions. Even if we provide a lot of funding to rural hospitals, they may not be able to, because of lack of skill sets or other issues, convert the data into OMOP format or implement the I2B2 and do all that stuff. So what we will be doing to address those is to bring in the data using the state's health HIE network. So in Wisconsin, we have Vision, which is the state HIE, so we're bringing in the data. We are creating a governance framework that supports collaborative entrepreneurship and also developing secure enclaves for detailed analysis of the data that we will assemble on demand. And obviously, in our enclave, we have a plethora of public and private data sets that are of relevance that people will be able to integrate and apply AI and ML technologies for their research projects or innovation projects. And ultimately, we are trying to develop a clear, sustainable structure for continuing this beyond the grant cycle. So there are, one of the things, like I said, according to the Wisconsin idea, we want to make sure that as we develop all these technologies, the 3 technology projects are combining hands and saying that we want to have a demonstration project that demonstrates statewide impact over this 5-year grant period. So the Project 1 Wisconsin Health Data Hub, for example, will integrate clinical data from 4 large hospital systems in breast, lung, pancreatic, and colorectal cancer. And we will link it with the public and state data sets to identify areas where cancer screening is critically needed. And then Project 2, CareScan, which actually implements mobile screening using mammography, PET scans, and MRIs eventually. So the mobile vans will be sent to these areas by the Medical College of Wisconsin to areas that are deficient in screening capabilities. And ultimately, GE Healthcare is developing a theranostics toolkit, and I'll talk about in a second. So the CareScan mobile screening, for example, will utilize the data, like I said, identify the areas where screening makes sense, and they'll send the vans. The screening data or the scanning data, the images will come back to the Wisconsin Health Data Hub, along with all the community level data that they can collect while they are at the sites. And so we believe that this will actually help cater to the needs of the rural communities particularly, and also in urban areas which are deficient sometimes in screening and other care. So eventually it will impact and help develop healthier communities. And so the GE Healthcare project then will take that data, imaging as well as the combined clinical data, and then make it available to providers along with the treatment suggestions. And initially, they'll focus on theranostics, so which is the advanced care that is now available for some of these cancers. So we believe that the combination of these three projects will provide a national model for integrating the data statewide, addressing a huge problem in terms of deficiencies in cancer screening in many areas, and also provide care solutions for providers and patients. So while we are doing that, we are also hoping that this will provide a framework again for people to come, both innovators and researchers, to ideate and assess the opportunity using our patient population, prototype the tools, do the clinical evaluations, and ultimately do the product development and clinical deployment. So I'll stop there. Again, I went too fast probably. It's a huge project, and a lot of people work on this internally as well as our sites and collaborators. So I'll stop there. Thank you.